Man, oh man, am I excited for today. Today we are taking our new NSX from the factory 544 wheel horsepower to 681 wheel horsepower, utilizing the goodies inside of this box. Now, before we go ahead and do some mods to the NSX, I do want to do a little bit of testing. Unfortunately, I don't have easy access to just slap this thing on a dyno for a before and an after, but what I do have is this here draggy. I want to do a before of a 0 to 60, go ahead and mod the car, and then do the same exact test, modded 0 to 60, so we can compare and contrast the times. Put it in track mode, that does turn off traction control, and that should give us our best 0 to 60 times. All right, we're down here in Mexico, a couple hours later. Let's see about this 0 to 60. Let's try that again. Old girl's a little slower than I thought, which is good because it gives us a lot of room for improvement. Both times, 0 to 60 was exactly 3.97 seconds. Dang near a 4-second 0 to 60. That ain't that impressive. I'm so curious how much time we're gonna shave off. This right here, my friends, is gonna make that car fast. This is a K-Tuner V2 for a 2017 to 2022 Acura NSX. Now, of course, 540 wheel is no joke, but being that it does have downpipes on it, we did need to get it tuned regardless. Otherwise, we'd have to go back to the stock downpipes. And I figured if we're gonna tune it, we may as well add in flex fuel. So that's how we're gonna get to that 680 plus wheel horsepower mark, either flex fuel or a super high octane gas, like 98 octane, for example. If I remember correctly, to get to that 680 wheel horsepower mark that Science of Speed claims, we need to have at least 40% ethanol in the tank, and the car will automatically adjust the boost levels, the timing, and the fueling, giving us all of the sauce in the world. So this is what the K-Tuner V2 looks like. Let's go ahead and get this thing tuned. The first thing we need to do is download the K-Tuner software. So if we go to ktuner.com/downloads, we should find it there. All right, there's the download. So we have the K-Tuner software downloaded. Now we go ahead and connect the K-Tuner device itself to the computer. We need to make an account. So we got our account registered. Now it says we need to go ahead and lock this to the ECU on the car. And I don't think we need the laptop for that. So let's just grab this guy here and the OBD2 cable and get this thing locked to the ECU on the car. As soon as you plug it in, it says, would you like to lock this ECU? Yes. Unit has been locked. Nice. Now we're gonna take this, plug it back into the laptop, download the maps that we want, load them on here, and then we can load them from here to the ECU. So to get our tunes that we want, file, new tune, 17 to 22 NC1 NSX V6 twin turbo, hit next, and the tune that we want is right here, stage 2 E40 tune. So I went ahead and loaded both a stage 1 map and the stage 2 flex fuel map on here. The reason I did the stage 1 as well is because we need to drive this car to the ethanol station, the gas station that sells E85, and put in our flex fuel. So let's go ahead, plug this thing into the ECU once again. We're just gonna tap that twice. And to start, we're just gonna load it on our stage 1 pump gas tune. Make sure you wanna flash this tune. Yes. So we have the tune loaded on the car. Now we need to go ahead and install our flex fuel kit. With the hood open, the first thing we need to do is pull off this carbon engine cover. So our flex fuel sensor is gonna sit right here. I pulled out the factory bolts. We're gonna take our flex fuel sensor bracket and then go ahead and reinstall the bolts. That is how that first bracket should look. And now we are going to install this bracket, this bolts onto that aluminum bracket we just installed. Our second bracket is installed. Now we're gonna take our flex fuel sensor and get this clipped into the bracket. So that is how the sensor should be sitting, fully mounted to the brackets. Now we need to plumb it, meaning put the fuel lines on, connect the wiring, put the engine cover back on, and we'll be done. All right, so for fuel lines, we need to pull this connector here so the green cover comes off, compress the white tabs, and now we're gonna go ahead and install these fuel lines. So we are done installing the flex fuel sensor. Now we need to go ahead and install the flex fuel converter. With the bracket in the box installed, that is how it should look. Let's install the wiring harness, put the engine covers back on, and fire this thing up. Wiring is very straightforward. We're gonna come to this box right here, go to this little emissions solenoid, and unplug that. Now this white connector is gonna plug into the box that we installed back here. This little T female end is gonna go to the solenoid. Male end will go to the wiring harness, OEM harness. And then this brown connector is gonna run up and plug into the flex fuel sensor. So there's the white connector. This is plugged into the factory emissions little solenoid. Brown connector is connected to the flex sensor. Now we just need to bolt this to a ground and we are 100% done with the flex fuel install. All right, we got the engine covers back on. That hides everything. You cannot see any of the wiring, any of the fuel lines, the flex fuel sensor, which is nice. Everything is completely hidden. Now let's go ahead and fire the car up. Hopefully she starts. So here's our K-Tuner ethanol content sensor, showing 9% right now. I'm gonna head down to the ethanol station. We need to get this at least E40 or above. Now the car, with the stage 1 map and downpipes, this should be low 600 wheel. 611 is what they claim. Let's see how it feels. Oh yeah, that is significantly quicker than what it was before. Even that without ethanol, that thing rips. Even without the ethanol, this thing freaking rips, boys. I'm so curious to see Bobby's reaction. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but it's definitely gonna happen one of these days. That's a little dangerous. We might have to turn traction control back on. This is, once again, just a stage 1 map. They claim 611 wheel, and just rolling into it in second gear, it'll go sideways on dry pavement. And this car, yes, it is all-wheel drive. All right, guys, it is time. We have our ethanol in the car. It is actually at 38% right now. It's 2% off. It should be E40, 40%. I don't think that 2% is gonna make a difference in power whatsoever. But one thing that is a problem is we do have a check engine light on the car because of the downpipes. And unfortunately, and I could be mistaken, I'll see here in a minute, but I don't think with the check engine light on, it allows you to launch the car in track mode. I guess we'll see. I don't have the scanner, the code reader with me to clear the codes, but let's just go ahead and repeat our 0 to 60 time and see how much better it is. Hopefully, it's substantially quicker. I'm gonna guess a 310 0 to 60. Somewhat flat road. a terrible launch. Yeah, let's go ahead and redo that. That launch was atrocious. Come on, girl. She needs more boost off the line. This thing doesn't launch at all. Let's try no launch. For some reason now, this thing doesn't want to launch. It doesn't want to leave. So it's easier to just roll into it. First gear goes sideways, second gear goes sideways. If we could get better traction, it would be a really, really good time. But I'm getting a consistent 3.27 0 to 60. If we could get launch mode to work, I think it'd be like a 3.15. I mean, launch mode is working, but you guys can see it just bogs off the line. One more shot in track mode using launch control. Let's see if it'll leave off the line. I don't remember doing this before. It seemed like it would launch just fine, very consistently every single time. Ready? Unfortunately, there's no sense in trying to use launch control. It's a whole half second slower with launch control than without it in track mode. I'm getting like 387s with launch control, and I got a 327 without launch control. All right, one more for fun. That was the best one yet. There we go. There we go. The launch control on this thing sucks, man. That was a 305. Granted, that was a tiny, tiny slope, but there we go. There's our time we're looking for. I was hoping to get it in the 2s. If we had properly working launch control on that pass right there, it actually hooked up pretty good on that bridge. I didn't feel it spin whatsoever. That would have easily been in the 2s for a 0 to 60. Let's just do a quick little ripper for fun. This thing absolutely rips. Absolutely rips. Makes me want to take it to the track and see what kind of quarter-mile times we could get. Granted, we could just simulate a quarter-mile time with the draggy. This thing's frustrating me. I'm gonna plug in the tuner and see if we can somehow raise the RPM or do something with launch control to actually get it to leave. Because if it doesn't leave on the street, it ain't ever gonna leave on the track. Alright, so the best time I was able to crack off today was a 3.05 0 to 60. Once again, that is not using launch control. Science of Speed is currently not open, but I'm definitely going to call them and see about trying to raise the RPM or do something on the launch so it'll actually leave. There's nothing I can change on the V2 tuner itself. I'm confident with a good launch, and if it'll hook like it did on that bridge, it would be a 2.9 second, probably 0 to 60, which is impressive. Seeing where we started off, that is a massive, massive improvement. Car is very, very fun. It runs great. It's a 100% perfect, other than if we could just get it to leave, man, this thing would be an absolute ripper. I am debating taking it to the track, like I said. I think at this weight and this power level, it'd probably be a mid 10-second car. Maybe a low 10-second car. We're pretty high up in elevation, so you do have to account for that as well. But if it was even a 10.5, that's plenty fast.